Welcome to today's Books Central podcast. I am Abbie, and today we have Harold Baker on the show to discuss his latest horror book, The Lost Soul. Harold, please give us a quick introduction of yourself and your background as an author.
Sure, Abbie. I have been writing horror novels for the past 10 years now. It all started when I read Stephen King's The Shining, and that book changed my life. Since then, I have been fascinated by the horror genre and have been writing about it ever since.
The Lost Soul is your latest work. Can you tell us a bit about the plot and themes of the book?
The Lost Soul is about a man named Jackson who is facing a massive crisis in his life. He is dealing with grief, trauma, and depression. One day, he meets a strange older man who offers him a way out of pain. But as Jackson delves deeper into the older man's offer, he realizes that the price he has to pay might be too high. The book is about the choices we make and the consequences that come with them.
That sounds like a very intriguing premise. What inspired you to write this particular story?
I have always been interested in the idea of making deals with the devil, so to speak. I find it fascinating how people will do anything to escape their pain and how that desperation can sometimes lead to terrible consequences. That's where the idea for The Lost Soul came from.
You chose to write a horror novel instead of any other genre. Why do you think the horror genre is so special to you as a writer?
I think horror allows us to explore the darker aspects of human nature in a way that no other genre can. It allows us to confront our greatest fears and examine them in a safe environment. Plus, there's nothing quite like the thrill of scaring readers and making them question their own beliefs.
You must have faced challenges while writing The Lost Soul. Could you share a bit about those challenges and how you overcame them with us?
One of the biggest challenges I faced while writing this book was making the protagonist sympathetic despite the choices he makes. Jackson is not necessarily a likable character, but I wanted readers to understand his pain and why he felt the need to make his choices. To overcome this challenge, I spent much time developing his character arc and ensuring readers could empathize with him despite his flaws.
That's impressive. Could you read an excerpt from The Lost Soul to give our listeners a taste of your writing?
Sure, Abbie. Let me just get my book from over here. Here we go. Jackson was a man consumed by the darkness of grief, trauma, and depression. Every day was a struggle, every moment a reminder of what he had lost. The loss of his wife, who had died suddenly in a car accident, had shattered him to the core. He couldn't bear the thought of living without her, couldn't shake the guilt of not being able to save her. One evening, as Jackson was wandering aimlessly through the streets, he came across an older man sitting on a bench. There was something strange about him, something unsettling. When Jackson got closer, the man looked up with piercing eyes that seemed to penetrate his soul. "Are you lost, son?" the man asked. Jackson hesitated before responding. He started, but then his voice trailed off. He didn't know what to say. The older man stood up and extended a hand. "My name is Elijah," he said. "I can help you." Jackson was skeptical, but he didn't have anything to lose. Elijah led him to a nearby alley, where he revealed a small silver flask. "This is the elixir of life," he said. "It can take away your pain, your grief, and your trauma. You just have to drink it." Jackson took the flask tentatively, feeling a sense of trepidation wash over him. "What's the catch?" he asked.
That was intense. The sound effects really helped create a spooky atmosphere. Are you planning on writing any more horror novels in the future? Can you give us a sneak peek into what can be expected?
I just finished another horror novel I hope to release next year. It's about a group of friends going on a camping trip, only to realize they are not alone in the woods. That's all I can say for now, but I promise it will be a wild ride.
Wow, that does sound exciting. Lastly, where can listeners find your book, The Lost Soul, and how can they connect with you on social media?
The Lost Soul is available at local bookstores and online booksellers. And as for social media, listeners can connect with me on Twitter at Harold Baker Books or Instagram at Harold Baker Author. I would love to hear their thoughts on the book and connect with them in any way possible.
There you have it, folks. The Lost Soul by Harold Baker is a must-read for horror fans. Don't forget to grab your copy and share your thoughts with Harold on social media. Thank you for joining us today, Harold.
Thank you, Abbie. It's been a pleasure.
Don't forget to tune in next week for another Books Central podcast with me, Abbie. Until then, keep reading and listening.